Hello, my Teaser King family. How's everybody today? Okay. So I got my happy Valentine's Day, so I'm happy. Although I don't know what's going on with Daria. Like she's gonna get the flowers and whatever else, but it seems like she's busy. I don't know if she's at meetings or what she's doing, but she said I'll write you later. But it's already 10:30 at night, so who knows? Anyway, happy Valentine's Day. Hope you were able to celebrate it with your Valentine or tines. Um, I did my analysis, I promised you, looking at inflation. What prices cost in 71 to what they are today. And gold by a mile has the highest percentage increase. So what I wanted to show was, well, look, a house has gone up so much percentage. If gold would have went up that percentage, this should be what I was trying to do is get to the real gold price, not the price fixed gold price of COMEX. So I wanted to say, look, the inflation rate is X, and if we plugged it into the $37 of gold, that rate would have been, so the real cost of gold would be 5,000. Only we can't do that because I'm looking and looking, but gold is king. So let's go through my little analogy here. So I'm going to be on my spreadsheet, and you're going to be here, and I'm still there. Okay, so I looked at regular oil price, a barrel of oil, so the pump price, the barrel, the bread, Pepsi, a house, a car, gold, and silver. So let's go down the list. Oil to go to the gas station was 40 cents a gallon. Now it's roughly $3.50, although I can still get it for $3. The increase is $3.10, and the percent or the inflation increase would be 775%. So it's gone up 700%. The barrel of oil was $3.17 in 1971. Looking at it right now was $76, an increase of $72, or 2,297%. Again, this is all in dollars. Bread cost a quarter in 1971. Today, I just went to at the grocery store, it's $3. It went up $2.80, roughly 1,100% increase in dollars. A Pepsi. Now, this is a really tricky one. It was a dime for a can of Pepsi in 1971. Well, when I started looking, there is no cans. You got to buy a 6-pack or 12-pack or whatever. But I went at the grocery store in the cooler, they do sell the singles, and it was $2.50. So an increase of $2.40 or 2,400% for a 12-ounce Pepsi. A house, now these are like average medium houses, 25,000 for a house in 71, 450,000 for a house today. And you could probably find them for a little less. And it's a $425,000 increase, but it's only 1,700%, where we're getting $22 for a barrel, $2,400 for Pepsi. So it did go up, but again, there's ranges. So you could have maybe bought a $10,000 house or a $100,000 house in 71. And today you could buy $1 million houses or a Tom Brady house. But we're looking at average medium. So 425,000 increase, 1,700%. A car, roughly $4,000 for a normal Ford off the lot. Now I'm judging. Here's the problem, right? You got Mercedes and you got Ferrari and you got Camry. So I took a Camry versus the Ford whatever in 71. I think a Pinto. So 4,000. I said 30,000. Maybe it's 35,000, but I said 30. The problem is the interest rates. Even though it costs 30 to really buy it, you have to pay the rates. A $26,000 increase in a car, 650% only, because we start at 4,000, we only go to 30. So really, it went up 26,000, but only really 650%. Now we come to my favorite, gold, $37 an ounce in 1971, and today it's not even. Let's just say 2050 is what we see the last, since January. An increase of $2,000. So where a car is going up 26,000 and a house 425,000, we get $2,000 on gold. But because it was 37 and it popped to 25, to 2,000, it's a 5,000% increase in gold, and that's really, So if you'd have just bought gold in 71 and we're all like, Luke, when's it going to go up? And even though COMEX has been fighting it, it's still got to 2050. It's still got a 5,441%. So I don't know how to make it. Well, let's say we didn't have COMEX and it went up the same rate, but I don't have anything greater than 5,000%. So a house goes up 1,700 and a car 650 and a Pepsi 2,400 and even a barrel of oil 22.97, bread 1,100. I mean, it's bread was a quarter, only went up to $3. A barrel of oil went from 317 to 76. Nothing has gone up from under 50 to 2,000. And it's not even close to really where the real value is. Silver was $1.50 in 1971. It's $25 right now. Maybe we can call it 30. Only going up $23 and only going up 1,500%. So now this is what the problem is. People will take away that the cost of the house went up. It didn't. The cost of the car went up. It didn't. Gold, an ounce of gold, still an ounce of gold. That didn't go up. And an ounce of silver, still an ounce of silver. What are we missing here? These are all priced in dollars. So wait a minute. You're telling me that my ounce of gold was $37.71. It took $37 to buy it. Now it takes $2,050 to buy the exact same ounce of gold. Wow, that's how much the dollar has dropped. 5,441%. That's right there. 2050 minus 37 is 2013 divided out, 5,441%. Again, what you're looking at is the 37 and the 2. So you're dividing 2013. I'm dividing 46 by 44. So I'm dividing the 2013 by the 37. And I'm saying, well, that's gone up 540. So in other words, if I took $100 and it went up $3, then I would take 103 divided by 100 would be 3%. That was my test case. So the same thing with silver. You could have bought it for $1.50 Now you can buy it for 25. We know both gold and silver are fake, and yet imagine if they were real prices. But we know a house 4.25, a car 26,000. It went up, and only 650%. So the cars, with all the competition, haven't gone up that much. A house has 25 grand to 450. It's ridiculous. A Pepsi, a dime to 250 is ridiculous. And bread, like I'm assuming Wonder Bread, a quarter to $3 roughly. That's still 1,100% bread. And go to the gas station, 40 cents. It's now 350s, 310. Now we have, a lot supply and demand, a lot more cars on the market. Therefore, they can't raise the prices as much. Gold and silver are different. There really is no competition for gold. It's just other different types of gold, right? So you have Cougaran, or you have a Maple Leaf, but basically the ounce of gold is the ounce of gold. Where a car, you had Ford and GM, and now you got Toyota and Mercedes. All the Germans, the Koreans, the Japanese are all in the field, making it more competitive, which is why the price didn't go up. But really, you don't have the competition in gold. Gold's gold. And look at the money. I mean, the value of the money is tanked. And this is the best look at that. Even a loaf of bread was a quarter in 1971. Now costs you $3. So look how much the money has gone down. That's 1,100%. So hard to figure out by the different competitions and markets that we're dealing with how much exactly did the dollar lose value. We know it lost 1,700 on a house. We know going to the gas station 775%. We know a Pepsi's 2,400%. And then we know silver's 1,500% and gold's 5,441%. So we can see the dollar's lost a lot of value. This is, to me, the only way you can try to value the dollar, how much it has lost. We know it's lost 99% of its purchasing power, but actually has it? It's really hard to measure because gold's, let's focus on gold. Gold's $37 an ounce, 71. You print and you print and you print, all of a sudden it's up to $2,050. It's up $2,000 since 1971, 50 years. Meaning it takes, so you've inflated the dollar 5,000%, right? Because it's the same amount, because gold hasn't changed and there's no competition. Well, maybe there was a little with the Cougaran was kind of the only one, but all the other come out with it. But basically, it's an ounce of gold is an ounce of gold is an ounce of gold. So you really don't have like Toyota coming in against Ford and Honda and Audi and Mercedes all competing with Ford, driving the price down and competition. You really don't have that with gold. Nothing competes with gold. I don't know. I can't do baseball cards. I mean, because of the players, Mickey Mantle in he doesn't even have a 1971 card. Maybe you do. It's hard because they play about 10 years. So what are you going to do? So that's the only problem. I was trying to figure that out, but basically, it proves how much the dollar, it takes more dollars to buy these items. Nothing has went less in 2024 than it was in 1971. So my next step is to try to figure out a good inflation rate. We know it's lost 99% of its value, but what is that in percentage? So what it could buy versus what it can buy now, to show you how much the dollar has lost, because that's what we're all missing. We're missing how much the dollar has lost. You see a $20 bill, you think it's still a $20 bill. You don't realize it's not a $20. It's not really a $20 bill anymore. So in other words, if I pull out $40 out of my wallet and I go back in time with Marty McFly and Biff, I'm paying $37 for gold. Now, the ironic part is if I went back to 1955, you couldn't buy gold. How ironic is that? You couldn't buy gold. Owning gold was illegal. If you had it from the 1930s and you just kept it, would be the only way, but you couldn't really cash it in. So it's now legal to own, but it didn't come out till 71 or 72. So therefore, you can't really, you'd have to go back to 1972 to buy gold. And you'd still need the Gray Sports Almanac, I think. So that's where it's at. And this is a suppressed price. We must understand in gold and silver. There's a little COMEX keeping it away from the real market price. I was listening to Rick Rude today. I hate him, and it was just like, okay, it's a short one. He's saying this will go up 300 times, and he doesn't even talk about it. So you listen to the video, and there's nothing he's talking about. But he doesn't understand COMEX. He doesn't understand that COMEX fixes the price. He kind of glosses over it because he's guilty of that. He should be in prison, by the way. And he kind of says, well, you can't trade in it. So meaning if me and you wanted to do the derivative trades, we can't because our pockets aren't deep enough. So only a JP Morgan can, or his company. So he fails to mention that. He fails to mention the COMEX price, being price fixed. Somehow he misses that. This guy, Rick Rule, should be put in jail for being part of this Ponzi scheme of the ETFs where you think you're owning physical gold, you don't. And this guy comes on and just talks in China. You don't. I can't understand what he says. I don't know. He's a lot like Mark McGuire. He comes on and he talks bank language. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, so one quick analysis I was doing. I go and I'm putting this on my football page. So basically, you can see gold's up 5,000%. But then again, Pepsi's up only 2,400%. Bread's up 1,100%. You have items that weren't around in 71. Going to the gas station went up 75%. So it's really hard. Silver's up 1,500%. Gold's up 5,400%. So it's really hard to really get a grasp. Maybe a house, 1,700%. 25,000 to 450. So it kind of gives you an idea, like why are prices going up and prices aren't going up? It's the dollar losing value. Even on an ounce of gold, the ounce of gold still an ounce of gold. Tuna there's only 3 ounces in the can now. It used to be 5, 6. And that's really where you can't measure the same thing. So that's why we try to use gold against something. What I wanted to do was like a barrel of oil. That went from $3.17 to $76. So it's up $72, which is 2,300%. But gold's up 5,400. Gold's up the most. So it's kind of, and yet we know it's price fixed. So imagine where it should be. And it's just because gold's the easiest measure because it's the same thing. You printed an ounce, it's still an ounce, it's still an ounce, it's still an ounce. Nothing's changed. Where Pepsi, the sizes changed and the competition changed, and bread, much more competition, keeps the price down. A barrel of oil, okay, that's up, but that's still market controlled. So I need something not controlled by the market. And there's very little you can find that's not controlled by the market. Even going to the gas station, it's that. And now, what can you find that is the same? And that's really what the problem is. Locating, what, a dishwasher, the 71, a refrigerator. I think they had refrigerators. I remember that when I was a kid, we had a refrigerator, but that's really the problem. So I will go to phase 2 of this as soon as I can figure out how to phase 2 it. So my real thought of this analogy, being stoic, I'm asking the question, what should the gold price be if it wasn't price fixed? That's the question. So because it was 37 and now it's 2050, but we know the 2050 price is fixed. It's a COMEX price where they're keeping it down. What can we find and measure that is, something from 71 that went up, 10,000%, and that's a pretty good thing. And then we know gold should have went up 10,000%. In other words, how much did the dollar lose? And I keep getting different pieces of the pie, and they're different. So I know the dollar lost at least 5,441% because that's gold, right? Gold went up $2,013. That's how much the dollar fell. So, but that we know that's not right now. 2050 is nowhere close to what the real price should be. And this is the problem. And listening to these idiots on YouTube, one's stupider than the next. They don't understand paper. They don't understand the dollar going out. They're not economists. And that's the problem. So it's frustrating because, they're talking gold and silver, but they're so stupid they don't know what they're saying. All right. So I'm going to look at week 17's quarterbacks just to change it up real quick, just because I'm in the same page. And what did I notice? I noticed that Dak Prescott was 36-9, touchdowns to interceptions was the best, but he didn't make the playoffs, and he had 39 sacks. Then I look, Brock Purdy, 31-11, but he was only sacked 28 times. So I'm starting to get the correlation. So where Prescott threw more touchdowns and less interceptions, threw for 265 a game versus 251. Did the running game help him? But yet he was sacked 39 times. And then I get down here and I see Thurston Howell III of Washington played 17 games, threw for only 3,900 yards, where Dak threw for 4,500. Again, doesn't mean anything. 21 touchdowns and 21 interceptions. We know that's a problem. And 65 times he was sacked. Oh, my God. So 21-21 compared to Brock Purdy's 31-11, compared to Baker 28-10, Russell Wilson 26-8. What was Patrick Mahomes was 27-14, not the greatest, but you can see 27-14 versus 21-21. He doesn't throw for enough touchdowns, and he throws too many interceptions, and he gets sacked 65 times. So I start looking at this, and then I come to number 2, Bryce Young, Carolina, throws for only 2,800 yards. So Prescott threw for 4,500. Jared Goff, 4,500. Tug Tagovailoa, 4,600. Let's go to the Super. Brock Purdy, 4,280. And Mahomes, 4,180. And this guy's 2,800. Then I go on, 11 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. And then we look at his sacks. He was sacked 62 times. Holy fuck. So this is the problem when you don't have a game. So there's balance. They tee off on you. Again, he's got a weak defense. The coach isn't going to help him. So he's basically fucked. Now, if you put Justin Herbert on that team, would it be 11-10 with 62 sacks? If you put Mahomes on this team, would it be only 11-10 with 62 sacks? And I would say no. I would say this is the problem. You have a quarterback problem here. Has no idea what he's doing. Then we have a 45, Derek Carr, and a 44 of Justin Fields. So you can see why Justin Fields stinks. He's 16 touchdowns and 9 picks. Okay, he only played 13 games, but he still had 9 picks. 44 sacks in 13 games. Oh my God. Now you see the problem with Fields. Here it's spelled out very easily. 44 sacks, and he doesn't get enough touchdowns, 16, and then throws 9 picks. And he only throws for 2,500 yards and 197 per game. He runs too much. Well, we don't want that in our quarterback. Let's see, anything else? Then we got a 46, Zach Wilson of the Jets, 8-7, 46 sacks. It's very clear why they suck. They take too many sacks. They can't read. They don't know. So what do you mean? Well, let's look at Mahomes, right? He gets sacked 27 times. 27 touchdowns, 14 picks, 27 sacks. Plays in all 17 games. I haven't updated the playoffs yet. But he doesn't take sacks, and he throws a little bit more interceptions because these guys drop balls. I remember the Lions game, the running back hits him in the hands, knocks the ball up, and the guy intercepts it. Well, that's hardly Mahomes' fault that the receiver can't catch the fucking ball. And then you look at, Josh Allen sacked 24 times. That's misleading because he hard to tackle, so he might gain a yard, but he was only 29 touchdowns and 18 interceptions. So when we go through this, I sorted it by touchdown. So it's Prescott with 36, Jordan Love with 32 and 11 and 30 sacks. Not bad. Brock Purdy, 31 and 11, only 28 sacks. And as I said, Mahomes was 27. So look how you get to the Super Bowl. You don't get sacked a lot. You don't turn it over a lot. Who's my number 1 pick in the draft? Oh, yeah, it's Bo Nix. 45 touchdowns with 3 picks and 5 sacks. That's why I like Bo Nix. So when you look at the numbers of what's successful, and then you look at college to try to get the same numbers. Penix got a lot more than 5 sacks. So this is the problem. So you're trying to identify, well, wait, Dak Prescott threw 36 and 9, but he had 39 sacks. He didn't make the Super Bowl. He didn't make the championship game. So that's why you then go to Purdy and you go, well, the guy threw for 4,000 yards, 250 a game, 31 touchdowns, 11 picks, and only 28 sacks. And then you go, well, let's see what Mahomes did. And he was 260 a game, 27 touchdowns, a little high, 14, but a lot of it was the receivers, and only 27 sacks. And as Rice got going, I guarantee his sack total would have been much lower had Rice played like that the whole game, the whole year. So we have those two, and now you see what you need for the playoffs. So then when I say, let's look at Jared Goff of the Tigers, 30 touchdowns and 12 interceptions and 30 sacks. So he's not bad. That's why they got to the championship game. However, he doesn't play second half of playoff games. First there was against New England when he was on the Rams. Then he lost another championship game on the Rams. Then this year he doesn't show up in the second half of the Ram game, and then he doesn't show up at the second half of the 49er game. So this is why I don't like him, because he doesn't finish the game. If you would have switched it and had Mahomes with the 24-7 lead over the Niners, the game doesn't get close, like he did with Baltimore, right? He gets up 17-7, they win 17-10. Had they been threatened, he'd have scored more. And there he was just running the clock. That's what Mahomes does. But that's not what Goff does. He doesn't get you there. Now, part of Goff's problem is the coach. He's got his head up his ass going for fourth downs. Oh, did we watch the Super Bowl? Was anybody going for fourth down? I think maybe there was one, maybe. I'm not sure. Somebody was going to do it at their 10-yard line because they were down 14 points, but they didn't do it. The difference is the Lions were in the lead by 4. They were in the lead 24-10 and they go for it. And then they're down 3 and they go for it. I mean, not understanding momentum at all, strategy, defense. These are critical things the Lions coach doesn't really get. You've got to understand. Score. It's 24-10. Why would you ever go for it on fourth down? Then it's 27-24. You can kick a field goal and tie the game. What did we see? Did we see anybody go for fourth down in the Super Bowl? Let's see. No, it was 13-10. Kansas City. The Niners scored a touchdown, missed the extra point. The guy from Michigan is 8th or 9th miss of the year. And they're up 16-13. What's Kansas City do? They tie the game at 16. Then Frisco kicks a field goal to go up 19-16. And then at the end, what happens? Kansas City kicks a field goal to go 19-19. Then what do we see? In overtime, the Niners kick a field goal to go up 22-19. And then KC finally gets the touchdown to win it. But had they been fourth down, they would have kicked the field goal to tie it. Nobody's going for fourth down. Everybody's kicking the field goals when they get it. You get points, you keep momentum. So this is another thing there just to watch. Anyway, no comments. Bobby, you there? So that's what we look for. See, being stoic, you look for things. You drill into them. So in my interview with Chucklehead, what do I tell him? I says, well, I've got a very aggressive analytical mind. So I see goals at 2,000 and I go, why is it only 2,000? And I see it's fixed by Comex, but because of brics, I'm buying it because it's going to blow up and now it's going to go high. And that's the key, right? But that's being stoic. You're thinking like that. So I start doing a 1971 to 2024, whatever year we're in, analysis, and I can see where we knew gold went up a lot, but I was surprised that it was the highest percentage increase over cars and houses. I mean, houses went from 25 grand to 500 grand, and yet it's not close to the 5,000% gold did. And yet we know how much demand it is because gold has gone up this amount and it's still price fixed. So they're trying to keep it down, but the demand's so strong that there's nothing they can do to keep it down. So they even trying to price fix it, it's gone up 5,000%. So we ask a question. Why don't financial planners, financial analysts, stockbrokers, retirement people, why don't they talk about gold? What better place to put your money for safety and return? There's no return like it. So yours thought, well, I'll buy houses. Well, it's not even close to the return on houses. Cars going to lose value. And I'm talking brand new cars, right? Card collecting, we can't really I mean, you know, what are we going to look at? Okay, let's look at the 65 Mantle card. Maybe we can see what it was in 1971. It was probably $5. So that would probably be a nice, but then it's got to be a PSA 10, which didn't exist then. See, there's all these little caveats that we really can't see. Then we have, so we see that gold's it. We can't even look at stocks because they, you know, what am I going to look at? Microsoft didn't exist. Amazon's brand new. I can look at IBM. That doesn't exist anymore. Or, Chevrolet, you know, let's look at Ford or Chevrolet. I mean, Ford stock now is like $5 a share. It certainly didn't go up. There was no Microsoft. There was no, there was nothing consistent, right? AT&T, Michigan Bell, the phone company. It just shows things don't last, except for gold and silver. And silver at 25 is a joke. So watching some of these YouTube videos, these people are idiots. I can't even comment on them. They're just so ridiculous. They're guys at the store. What do these idiots know? And silver, I buy it when it's low because I know it's going to go up. You guys ever hear of brics? Jesus Christ. Do you understand economics that the dollar keeps getting printed, is going to zero? Do you understand that Colmax has been price fixing it? No. So if you don't understand all that, you're missing most of the story of why it's going to go up. And I see in the comments, well, I'll be dead before it goes up. And I always hear it's going to go up. It's going to go up. But the narrative's never given. Why is it going up? Well, it's a precious metal. So what? One guy was talking about platinum and palladium. He was talking about platinum and palladium. And they're part of like catalytic converters. They're needed by the car companies to make the product. They're not precious metals. They're just simply metals needed in the car. So you might as well buy rubber for tires or whatever is made in tires. Maybe why don't you buy that? Because they're going to need 4 tires on the cars, and then Firestone's going to get tires because people wear out the tires. So why don't you buy those products instead of platinum and palladium? And we're talking about gold and silver. Actually, was more talking about silver. It's 25. It's 25. Let's see what it's done. I think it was up today. So silver's back up 26 cents to 22.34, and gold is back to 1991. It got all the way down to 1986 at our 10 o'clock hit, which is expected, and it got up to 1995 shortly, and now it's 1991. No biggie. It'll skyrocket back up. So that is really what you must understand, right? Which you don't understand. You guys understand it because I'm here for you. But most people, these guys running these stores are clueless. I'm stacking silver, and I've been stacking, and I buy when it goes down. They don't even know why it goes down. Then you get a guy like Rick Rude comes on, and he doesn't sit there and explain anything. well, by the way, Comex price fixes it. And he makes a comment like, well, for those of you who think about price fixing, I think he thinks that people want to get in on the derivative trade, not that it is being derivative priced out. I don't think he understands that. But his title is, this will go up 300 times overnight, but he never says what it is in the video. That I'm tired of that shit too. With Rick Rude and Reichert and then Peter Lynch, or Peter Schiff and Andy and Maloney. All these morons sit there and they don't tell you about brics, and they don't tell you about Comex. They don't tell you about paper versus physical. And this is why they look like idiots. If you understand we hit an iceberg, the water's coming in the boat, we're sinking. If you understand that, you get off the boat. But if you don't explain that we hit an iceberg, or you don't explain the water's coming in, then why would I get off the boat? That's the problem. They don't explain the situation. Oh, yeah, the water's coming in, by the way, you better get off the boat. They don't. So they're not explaining why gold and silver is going to go up. They're not saying what the dollar's going. They're not saying, look, this is the medium of exchange. You're not supposed to print it to death. They've printed it to death. And you can ship it out of the country, but it's still inflation. It ain't 3%. They just don't include food prices and gas and electricity. And a lot of the prices that are in there, they don't include when they go to 3%. That's the biggest scam in the world. So they don't tell you that this is going to go to zero. At that point, there is no medium of exchange, and that's where our buddy gold comes in. Pretend it's gold. This comes in as now it's the medium of exchange. This takes over. It's not going to be barter. It'll just move to gold being the medium of exchange. Somehow you'll have to see, here's where the problem's going to be. What am I going to pay you guys? So you guys go to work. What are you getting paid in? You're still getting paid in dollars, even though they have no value? Now, question is, what do they do in Germany in the 1920s? What are they doing in Venezuela and Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka and Pakistan and Greece? What are they doing there? Did they come out with a new dollar? Are they using some other euro or US? Are they using the US dollar? What are they using to pay people? If you have an economy, you're paying people to go to work for you. That's the whole Adam Smith thing. You get your skill set. Bobby can play baseball really well. He gets paid for it. That's the whole point of it. So carrying on with that, I was watching the thing on Netflix, We Are the World, where all people are starving in Africa. So let's sing a song that ought to help them, and we'll sell all this money, which probably went right into the pocket of the people doing it, Michael Jackson and which the other guys, the producer Quincy Adams and Lionel Richie, probably went right into their pockets. So they probably was a big scam on all the other artists. Oh, we're doing this for charity. And they all came, and Bruce Springsteen and Huey Lewis. Like, really? What is he doing there? And some of I love Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, he can't even sing. So you have all these people there who you don't have to pay. What a pun. This is a Madoff if I've ever heard of. So all these entertainers come, don't get paid. They then have an album of which they then sell millions of copies. We Are the World. All these people starving in Africa. It's the government's fault in Africa, and they're a problem to fix, not ours. You can send them money. Where's the money going? Okay, so you sell all these CDs. Where's the money go? Who gets it? Madoff? Is this a Madoff project? Sure shit ain't going to the people that should have got it, which was the entertainers. They're stupid enough to work for nothing. They're out of their fucking minds. Now, let's keep it fair. Most of them don't need the money, right? So you got Michael Jackson. He don't need the money, and you got Stevie Wonder. He don't need the money, and Ray Charles. So a lot of the guys didn't need the money. To them, it was a day out with their buddies, I guess. I don't know. But let's dig in. Where did the money go? Did it go to Africa? What did you just hand money to who? The African government? And what did they do? Did it solve the problem of the hunger in Africa where people are starving? It just sounds like a bleeding heart liberal. People are starving in Africa. Let's do a record. We'll make money and we'll give them the money. Well, you know what? Why don't we go there and teach them how to plant crops, and then they can grow food and they won't starve? Sam Kinison did a bit on that. He says, well, I'll tell you how to solve world hunger. Move the people out of the desert in Africa to the place where the food's at. You know, maybe don't live in the desert where nothing grows. And so apropos, instead of doing a song, why don't you send over, Bill Gates and let him put land out there and let him go farm. I can see Bill Gates out there farming and growing food. How about that? Instead of doing an album, people buying it, and then where did all the crop money go? Which mafia got it? Because I guarantee you, nobody's digging into where did all that money go. Only, this one guy comes out, oh my God, the kids are starving and people are starving and there's no food. And you're like, so what good is giving them money going to do? Because the money's going to go into the dictator. And he's going to say thank you. Just like when we give money to Ukraine now, it doesn't do anything. What's it do? It's money laundering. We give them money and they put it in their Swiss bank accounts. I mean, they don't use it for the war. They can't win the war anyway. The war is basically over. You got this idiot Zelensky trying to draft more people to get killed by the Russians because the military U.S., the whole military complex wants the war to keep going. So anyway, I saw that and I just sat there and it started to be stoic for me. I was getting stoic on it. And I said, okay, so let's go to the beginning. These people they don't do anything, but they sing. Bobby at least hits a baseball and plays a sport. That's very hard to do. These people are singing. What kind of talent does that take, right? Either you have a voice or you don't. I can't sing. I suppose I can sing. Nobody would like it, but I can't sing. I'm not a singer. So you get all these singers that basically have been used that they do a song and people buy the song and then they do a concert to hear the songs. These people make millions of dollars for doing nothing, for entertaining, which is basically singing or dancing. That's all it is, or doing a movie. It's all just entertainment. It's really not a skill at all. Singing to me is not a skill. I mean, there's a few guys, Bruce Springsteen, he can't sing. Huey Lewis, he can't sing. Willie Nelson, Kenny Rogers, these guys can't sing. They're just the role. They're just doing a role. They're not. Kenny Rogers can't, and they all close their eye. I love it how they close their eyes and sing. And it's just amazing. And these people make a lot of money by really doing nothing. They're not fulfilling any need. It's just singing, and people are so bored out of their minds from waking up and going to work, coming home, having dinner, going to the pool, coming home and watching sports or some sort of TV. And then it's a mundane life because we're all slaves. And so to get out of it, we go to a concert or we listen to music, and then we go, oh, Joe Blow's playing. Oh, let's go watch him. And he makes millions of dollars, which he's being used because the guy who's making it's the mafia. It's not really him. It's his manager, agent, and the mafia takes their cut at some arena, Madison Square Garden. Look at wrestling, right? Madison Square Garden. How much do you think the wrestlers got? They got very little. McMahon took it all, and whoever else is in the syndicate are taking it all, and they're all getting a piece of the pie. It reminds me a lot of Wall Street, where you're taking your hard-earned money and they're investing it in a stock, and everybody's taking their chunk out of it. And then you eventually lose all your money in stocks because you don't know what you're doing. As you're listening to a stockbroker, and you're clueless there. You just hand them the money, and then you get mad. They get all these big bonuses and everything. So being stoic, I said, this is a joke. These guys make money singing. You've got to be kidding. Like, why do they make millions of dollars singing? Okay, let's look at the difference between Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson. Michael Jordan actually does something. He has to play a sport and sink the ball and dunk and play defense and sweat his ass off for an hour. All right. And then he's got to travel all over the country and play games, being hounded by other guys trying to defend him. Michael Jackson just wears a batting glove and he sings something, whatever. Who cares? So that's the other thing. Who cares? It doesn't solve anything. Where Michael Jordan, at least he's actually entertaining because he's actually doing something that you can't do per se. We're singing. What do they have? America's this and that, and America's Got Talent, and Britain's Got Talent, and this guy can sing, and that guy, yeah. The amount of people that can sing is a joke. The whole thing was, Britain's Got Talent, and here's this lady sitting at home, and she can do Les Miserables songs. She's an opera singer, and she's sitting at home. Really? Okay. And that was a few years ago, but I remember I liked the song. Anyway, so that's what you have. You've got to question these entertainers. Even Hollywood, you've got to question these entertainers' skill set. What skill is it? I mean, we all act every day. It was funny. I was watching Jerry Seinfeld and Eddie Murphy were on some YouTube thing. They're on a show talking about comedians. This is 5 years ago. And, and they're talking how to do like stand-up comedy. And Jerry's like, well, you gotta, and I hate Jerry Seinfeld, and you gotta get into the right mode. You can feel it. You lock in with the audience, and it's a very hard thing to do. And you're just telling the jokes, and they're with you, and you're telling it, and they're laughing, and you're telling it, and you go to the next joke, and you're connected. And I sit there and I say, I do that every day. Every day I'm on here, I get into my set, I get into my comforts. I figure out what we're going to talk about that makes sense, that I'm teaching you, and you get it. And we walk together like this, me and Bobby and Luke and Nick and everybody. And I teach it. And then what do I hear? I'm going to go buy gold. Where do you buy gold at? So I know we've connected. And I don't know too many people who listen here who don't buy gold and silver because we've connected. And I kind of said, well, that's easy. I do it every day. All the time I do it. I just went to pay my bill for my my back. I went to a chiropractor. back in the summer, and the guy never sent me a bill. I finally get the bill, and I paid half last month, and now I paid half. I just paid. And we start talking, and I start talking about gold, and it's the same thing Seinfeld saying. We're in the moment. We're dancing. I'm telling his staff, there's 3 people, about gold and silver, and they're all listening, and they all get it, and they all want to run out and buy gold and silver, just like he's doing jokes. The difference is he doesn't help anybody, and I do. That's the biggest difference, but I get into the mood. A lot of times I don't very rarely plan a show or a class. Football's different. We're going through all the games. So, okay, I'm going to go through 50 college games and 16 pro games. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. Here's what I'm looking at. I already know what I'm looking for. And that's what I do. But now when it's economics or poker or something, I've got to it just comes to me of what I think is interesting. And I say it in a way that you guys grab it and go, yeah, that makes sense, Bobby. That's why I like the feedback. I want to make sure I'm on the right path, but I get a lot of that. And then I usually see if the people are on, and if I get 100 people viewing it, I know I'm not taking the ads, so I don't get the exposure that some of the people get, because I refuse to deaden my show with ads. I was watching one silver thing on YouTube, and then he had an ad every minute. There was a little 5-10 second bullshit that ruined the whole interview. I won't do that. I don't give a fuck. So to get into that moment takes me all 5 seconds. It's like, what are we talking? Okay, let's talk poker. Let's talk, Eddie Murphy this, and let's talk that. I'm so wide ranging that I can come up with something. Or I watch other people on YouTube and I go, they don't get why gold and silver is going up. Let's talk about that. That's fascinating for me. And I just come up with it, but I don't really rehearse. It's like doing a comedy show. I don't know what the jokes are going to be. I'm just telling the joke as I think of it, right? Which is much harder than what he does. It's funny. He says, well, I only like to be around funny people. And I'm thinking, I'm very funny, but I would be way over your head. Now, here's a very stoic thing for you, Bobby. So I'm sitting I'm in the locker room. I've done my swimming. I've done my shower. I'm putting my bathing suit in the little wringer that you push down and it dries the suit. And one guy comes to me, a little older than me, some guy, don't know who he is, don't really care. Again, I'm being stoic. And he comes up to me and says, so what's on your mind? Because I'm always thinking, and I don't really want to talk to any of these idiots. And I said to him, what's on my mind is over your head. You have no chance of following me to understand what's on my mind. Okay. You couldn't handle it. It's way over your head. And he kind of got upset, and I just kind of laughed like, you want to say hello, I'll say hello. Most of the time. Sometimes I don't say hello. The best part of being stoic is quiet. Quiet is the best. So he's upset, and he goes into the sauna, and I'm laughing going, dude, you couldn't handle what I think about and talk about. There needs to be a setup and an explanation. The simple thing is I could say, go buy gold and silver, but you wouldn't do it. It's over your head. That's the problem. And for me to explain it to you with brics, with the Titanic, with the dollar being inflated to death, with gold being suppressed by COMEX, it takes me an hour to explain all that, which I don't want to do. I'm drying my bathing suit. I'm going to get dressed. I'm going to go home. I got to do class. I want to say hi to Daria. Like, hello. So anyway, that's the whole key is that Seinfeld said, and Eddie Murphy was on it. And it's like, the other thing that got me was Eddie Murphy. They said, which movie are you most like? In other words, what's the real Eddie Murphy? Which character? Trading Places or, some of these others? And he said none of them. And I'm like, that's impossible. You draw from your personality. I mean, this is always me, right? If I'm talking about the girls, the poker, the stoic, the gold, the football, it's me. I'm not acting. And I just sit there like, how the fuck can Eddie Murphy, how can you possibly do the Trading Places movie and none of it's you? How can that be? You're making jokes. Is that not you? When they pull you up from the thing and you go, I got legs, that's not you? Who the fuck is it? How can it not be you? It has to be you. It's impossible. That's your sense of humor. So what the fuck are you talking about? Now, are you talking, well, I'm not a beggar? That's not the question. To me, that's what you act like. But he seemed kind of weird anyway on that show. Because he's always like funny, and the funny laugh, that is him. So I don't know what he's talking about. Very, very strange. But then I start thinking about actors and actresses, and I'm getting more and more turned off by them because think about it. They're all a bunch of liars. They're all acting a role. So they're not even themselves. So you don't even know who they are, right? Oh, I think I'm going to see Eddie Murphy and he's going to give me the, I'll take that one and laugh and everything else. That's who I think I'm going to talk to, but that's not him. He's a liar. He's lying to us. I want to see the real person. In acting, I don't want to see the acting. I talked to my friend Alyssa, and we were talking about sometimes I need to give her a ride, or she needs a ride. So we're talking about Gladiator, and I said, I hate the guy who played the son who killed Marcus Aurelius. How do you kill Marcus Aurelius, right? I said, I hate the guy. I don't like him at all. And he said, well, he was acting. And I said, it's just acting. And I said, no, he was playing a role. And I don't like him in that role. So I don't like him. He chose the wrong role. And this is the problem. When they play an idiot, I don't want to see it. And then on top of it, they're lying, right? The whole thing's a lie. Well, that's not really them. Well, wait a minute. Then why do I want to see, Steve McQueen in a movie? What do you mean it isn't him? He plays the same character. Or Sean Connery, you're telling me that wasn't Sean Connery? He never used an accent? None of the movies that Sean Connery did, you're really seeing Sean Connery? Then I don't want to watch a movie because you're watching the idea of the character. So you like the character, right? So you like the character Steve McQueen plays, Cincinnati Kid, let's say. So you like that character. That's why you're watching the movie, is because he's doing it. So you expect that he's him. And if he's really not like that, then it's all a lie. I don't want to watch any of it. So I take it for face value, kind of, that, yeah, Steve McQueen, yeah, he's playing poker, okay, or Rounders, yeah, they're playing poker. And you can kind of get into it to see the story unfold. But you believe the actor is the actor the way he plays it. So the Gladiator guy, the girl from the Dragon Tattoo, the American version, is dating the guy from Gladiator, the loser. And I get on her and I see her on Instagram and I start following her and geez, I think you did a great job in Dragon Tattoo. I like how you outsmarted everybody at the bank. So I'm thinking she's smart, right? And then I see her dating this loser and I go, look, you slept with James Bond, Daniel Craig in the Dragon Tattoo movie. Okay, that was okay. That was good. But you're living with this loser from Gladiator. Of all the characters in Gladiator, you pick the loser. Now, is he really like that? I don't know, but that's what we see. And I refuse to watch the Joker because he's in it. Right? That's how bad. That's how bad. I don't like the guy for doing what he did, even if it's his character playing a role. Don't take that role. So I noticed Sean Connery a lot of the times never always played the good guy, right? James Bond and in Hunt for Red October, he was still cool in it, and Indiana Jones, he was still cool in it. He never played the loser idiot, right? And I think that's what I'm driving at. And I think because they're not stoic parts. So when you've got the guy being the bad guy in the Gladiator, killing Marcus Aurelius, and then trying to kill Russell Crowe, yet I like Russell Crowe because of his role. He was the hero. And the senator, don't mind him. The sister, don't mind her. The other gladiators, you like them. But this guy you don't like. And, it's hard to then like him, right? So he's got to play a good character that you like. Now, there's bad guys that you still like, but it's like wrestling, right? You like The Rock and you like Stone Cold and you like the bad guys in it. Or when you didn't like when Hogan turned bad. That's a good example. So here's Hogan, the good guy, wearing the yellow, comes out in the black, and everybody hates him. And then he has to go back to the yellow. And Andre the Giant did the same thing. He was the good guy. He went back and everybody hated him. So you've got to be careful with that. You like the personality and the role that they play. Anyway, so it gets down to this whole music. You've got to like the character, but they've got to be real. And they've got to be honest, or you don't like them, because we're looking for stoic people. We're not looking for liars and losers. That's who we don't want to associate with or be around or even, or listen to. And that's where it all comes back to. So you want Keanu Reeves plays stoic people. Clint Eastwood played stoic people, like in the those old Westerns, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. He plays stoic. Right. And you like him. Even Lee Van Cleet, the bad guy, was stoic, and you kind of liked him because he was stoic, even though he was bad. And that's, I think, what I didn't like about this whole thing for Africa, and they're all singing to make money. I thought was ridiculous. I thought it was absolutely. You sing to entertain. You don't sing to raise money for communist dictators in Africa. For the thing of thinking that if you sing a song and make money, the people aren't going to starve in Africa, you're out of your fucking mind. I mean, you're not even close to reality. Yeah, there's no way that they're going to feed anybody in Africa because they sang a song and made millions of dollars. Where did the money go? Oh, it went to the dictator in Africa, and he bought gold with it, probably. He opened another gold mine. Just like sending money to Ukraine, it goes right into Biden's pocket, or they divvy it up. And that's really it. But you don't like fake people if you're stoic. You like honest people. And now it's kind of unveiled that the actors aren't honest. That's really not me. Who the fuck are you then? What do you mean you're not me? So that's why we like sports probably better, because it is Mahomes and it is Kelsey and it is Joe Montana. And the way Mahomes acted, it was not fixed. Namath was fixed, and Namath acted like it was fixed. And Earl Morrall definitely had it fixed. But my point is, I think of James Caan in The Godfather, then he was in The Gambler, then he was in Brian Song, and then he never changed. I see him, there's a Thief movie. back in the 70s. It's the same guy in every movie. So you liked him because you knew what he was. So that's what I'm getting at, is I don't like the actors who all of a sudden, they're not being honest with you. They're lying to us. Well, I don't want to watch that. And then if you play a stupid character, I certainly don't want to watch that. If you're going to play a stupid character, I don't, like this Gladiator guy. There's nothing good about him. Why do I like him? Or why do I say, boy, you acted good. You acted like an asshole. Well, probably because you are an asshole. I saw nothing that would make me, if I saw the guy in the street, I would ignore him. If he came up to me, I would ignore him, because you chose the bad role. This is what you choose. You choose being a loser, an idiot. Why would I want to associate with a loser? And I'm not impressed you're an actor. Takes no skill at all. Everybody acts all the time. At work, you're acting. With your spouse, you're acting. You're not really yourself in a lot of the situations. Oh, honey, let me do the dishes. That's acting. That's you don't want to do the dishes, but you want to help her out. You love her or whatever. So, I mean, that's what happens, but I got to drink this water so quickly with the cinnamon and the ginger in it. It's got a little taste. Anyway, that's really where it goes to, is we like and dislike things, and it gets to the division of labor. To be an actor, it's all about your looks, and that's it. And do they really act? Did this guy act? How did he act? He acted like an idiot. Wow, that's a great acting skill. Like that must be really hard to do. So, and there's very few that are any good at it and make money at it, because we believe that that's who they are. That is why they get paid a lot. And it's just the whole thing's ridiculous, and it's going away. The movies they make are so bad. I mean, I'm on Netflix or I'm on Tubi, and I'm watching old movies. I'm not watching. There's some new ones. They're all the same. All the Marvel. I like Batman. I'll watch that one. Otherwise, I'm not watching any of these Marvel. I don't have any desire to watch any of them. Not a big fan of them. So, I like watching smart people or smart roles, let's say. So, like Money Heist, I like The Professor. Is The Professor really like that? I think part of it is, not completely, but the fact he's smart. That's why I like the girl in the dragon tattoo. She goes into the bank and she steals all the money and then converts it into bonds and then takes the money off the bonds and wears a wig. And that was very intelligent. I liked her playing that role. And she made a comment. She said, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. And I stopped following her and said, go fuck off. That was your best role, not the Facebook movie that you were in acting like an idiot. I said, why would you not want to do that's like Dan Craig not doing James Bond. You were very good at it. Why wouldn't you keep doing it? Anyway. Which then takes us in, let's go talk about poker. If we're talking about liars, the concept of poker is to lie. See there, I give fake tells, but I'm still me. I'm the same person you see here playing poker. The difference is I'm smarter in poker because I have to be. Not that I'm smarter, but I know you're watching my tells to see what kind of hand I have, because Hold'em is one of the stupidest games. You get 2 cards and 5 in the middle, and everybody can use it, and it's all luck, right? So in my mind, let me play 7 card stud, then you ain't gonna read shit. But okay, so I have to act while still being me. It's these little ticks and tells in your hand, and I knock the chips over on purpose or take a drink or watch the TV. It's still me, basically, but pretending because I know you're watching me. So poker's a lot of it. It's, I think, the real person pretending, using his intelligence to fake you out on what you think I have, right? That's still me being intelligent, leading you into believing I'm bluffing, or you leading you into believing I got a full house. That's what poker is. But a lot of the times I actually have a full house and I bet like I'm bluffing, but I really have the full house. And people think I don't because of the way I acted or the way I bet it, and I really have the full house. But that's what poker is. So the actors have never done it, like Tobey Maguire or this idiot, whatchamacallit. What's his name? I can't think of it. I don't know. The guy on Rounders. Anyway, neither of them can play poker. See, the poker skill is one thing. The acting part of poker is very, very small. You're mostly sitting there like this, going, okay, I'll make a bet. Okay. What kind of acting is that? It's not really acting. And when you watch the Doyle Brunsons or the Phil Hellmuths, it's all strategy. Doyle just bets a lot because he has more than everybody else, and everybody has to fold because they can't lose 50 grand on a bet. Phil Hellmuth, the worst player. He's terrible. He'll sit there and he'll be like this, so you can't see me, and you got to just ignore that. Or that's probably a tell he's got a good hand when he does that. I bet if you watched him do this, he'd have a hand every time. Or Daniel Negreanu talks, and when he talks, he's bluffing because he's nervous. So you can pick up on their personalities. It's like the Russian girl that she'd bluff, she'd make a big bet, but when she had something, she would check, right? So I think that's Negreanu. I think he's very nervous, and he talks a lot and asks you questions. Now, if I'm ever playing with Daniel Negreanu and he starts doing the talking bullshit, out of my mouth's going to come, fuck off. Not fuck you, but fuck off, right? Oh, what do you got? Fuck off. That's an inappropriate question. You can't ask me what I got. If we're in the hand and we call it down and I show you. Otherwise, fuck off. It's inappropriate to ask that question unless I have to show it in a hand or something. What did I have? I don't. It doesn't matter. Fuck off. What did you eat for dinner? It doesn't matter. I don't care. So, this is where the celebrity comes in, where they think they have power over you because they are lying and acting, and you're sitting there. Like if I saw George Clooney at Kroger's, I would just walk right by him. In fact, I might run into him and walk right by him to say, fuck off. You're nothing. You're a clown. Fuck off. That's what I would probably do. Because I don't have any respect for them because they're not doing anything. We're sitting here figuring out how to, buy gold, and because of the derivative COMEX and what's going on and brics, we're doing something, not, acting. I hate liars, so I guess that's the biggest problem I have with acting. And these musicians, they're just a joke. Why are they making it? But it's different with athletes because they're not acting. Bobby, Michael Jordan, Reggie Jackson, Mahomes, they're not acting. They're doing their job. And it's a very hard skill. That's the difference. What Bobby does and what Al Pacino do aren't even close. Bobby's actually doing something productive that nobody can do. 20 people in the world can do it. Al Pacino isn't doing anything. He's I don't know what he's doing. He's reading lines and pretending, lying to be something. Who gives a fuck? He's not doing anything productive. So this whole thing for Africa, again, what are they doing? How are their kids still starving in Africa today? You did this in 2004 or 1997, whatever the fuck they did it. Are you still, giving the proceeds to them? Is everybody not hungry in Africa now? There's no more famine. Okay. So what are you doing, and what are you going to do in all these countries where everybody's getting killed? What are you doing about Ukraine? You're going to get Zelensky out and put I don't know, put Diana Ross in charge or something. I mean, what the fuck are you doing? The poor kids in Africa. Well, that's from the government not planting crops. So, we should all cry about that. I mean, it's one thing if you're, down on your luck and you're poor. It's the other thing when the government's fucking you over, which, by the way, sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? So we will see. But just buy your gold and silver to protect yourself, because we know the boat's sinking. See, this is the difference between us and this Yankee Doodle dandy guy and all these silver stackers and all these other idiots. And all the guys I talk about that are idiots. They don't get COMEX. They don't get the dollar. They don't get inflation. They don't get BRICS. And that's why we listen to Egon and we listen to Mark McGuire, and we're basically wondering what's going on with Alligator. As Bobby said, I think he is turning into crocodile. I think he's losing his mind. And you got to be careful with these guys, because they're more banking. There's very few. I'm like Bobby. There's 5 of me out in the world that are Austrian economists that know what it is and know how to explain it. And that's it. Maybe 5, maybe 10 at most. Most of these economists are Keynesians who want to talk about, communism, or, we need to print money, or there's no inflow, look, a soft landing, and they're just lying to you. They're not stoic at all. See, I'm stoic. I'm going down telling the truth. And you can believe me or not. And when you don't believe me when I tell the truth, it kind of bothers me, which is why I stopped talking to a lot of people at the club. If I tell you to buy gold, I'm telling you the truth to help you, right? I'm trying to be nice and help you, and I know a lot more than you do. And when you say I got oil stocks or I don't want to buy gold, it doesn't go up. All I can do is say, you know what? I'm done helping. I'm done being mistreated. I mean, that basically is what they're doing, right? They're treating me incorrectly. I'm giving you the Holy Grail, and you're saying, I don't want it. I got oil stocks. And so I sit there like, okay, fine, go fuck off. And the next guy you ask me what's in my mind is going to get a fuck off, because you don't care. And if I explain it to you, which is way over your head, you're not going to understand it anyway. So why should I waste my time talking to you about anything that's in my head? That's inappropriate, not in bounds. You have no right in my head. So get the fuck out of my head. Just like I would tell Daniel Negreanu or these poker players or these actors, go fuck yourself. You have no right in my head. And why should I tell you things? So anyway, heard a little from Daria today. Happy Valentine's Day. Although I don't know what she's doing, because I gave her money to buy flowers and candy for her and the daughter, and yet I didn't get a picture. I see she's on. It's almost like she's working, or she might be at that conference that she had to go to last time. So I think she's there, but I'm waiting. And maybe she goes to this thing and it's 2 or 3 days. I don't know. She told me she's going, but I didn't realize it was, 2 or 3 days worth. And then maybe she'll be home for the weekend and buy the flowers and the candy then. And that's it. So I judge today based on who says Happy Valentine's Day and who doesn't. Just like when it's my birthday, and I judge it on who says Happy Birthday and who doesn't. If you don't say Happy Birthday, fuck you. How hard is it? So a lot of my family doesn't say Happy Birthday, and I go, fuck you. That's why I'm with Daria and Jenna, because they at least care about me, and the family's a bunch of gladiator guys, right? So that's where I'm at with them. The other thing, what was the other acting thing? I don't know. I think I covered it. And gold's at 1991 still. 4 o'clock. Silver 22.34, but you don't even care because we're smart enough to know this is bullshit, so we don't pay attention to it. And we'll hear from Mark McGuire Friday. Today's Wednesday, right? So I'm going to show you this Eddie Murphy clip, and you tell me if you think. I love this part. Trading places.
Hey, what is this? What is this shit here? Hold up. Hey, who been putting out their cold on my floor? Who has been putting out their cold on my floor? Hey. Have you people ever heard of posters? Would you like me to prepare some more hors d'oeuvres for the guests, sir? Fuck them.
Okay, so was that really Eddie Murphy? So he's trying to say that's not anything is not him. I find that hard to believe. But I do like that part of the movie. Here's Rick Rude, and he's saying 30 times is coming in a heartbeat, but he doesn't say what it is. He's too stupid to put on here. There's one thing. Okay, I want to show you, as we're into all sports, to set this stage up. I don't know what year this is. This is a World Series game. So this is up to an at bat. It's Nolan Ryan, Bobby's favorite, against Pete Rose.
Rose comes to the plate. He is 4-12 in this championship series, 7 out of 17. He's been walked 3 times. He'll be followed by Blake McBride and Mike Schmidt.
Good old Keith Jackson.
And it's a typical Rose reaction from the crowd as Pete comes to the plate. They know he's poison. He has been troublesome for so many people for so many years in this game of baseball. Nolan Ryan pulls his cap down, and the right-hander from Alvin, Texas is ready to pitch a big game in his career. Ball 1.
Whichever team scores first will win it, Pete said. I wonder. Well, to go along with that, Houston, they had a record of 32 wins and 6 losses in games at the Astrodome in which they did score first. And now you're even at 1-1.
The first pitch was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball for ball 1. The second pitch, a 96-mile-an-hour fastball for strike 1. So here is Nolan Ryan even with Rose at 1-1. Pitching with 3 days rest, not an oddity for Ryan at all. That's inside. He was a little younger, though, when he worked as part of a 4-man rotation with the California Angels from 72 to 78. They're the championship series for Pete Rose.
Shows you the kind of clutch player he is.
Why the crowd groans when he comes to the plate. 2-1 pitch is a ball just high.
I think the big thing that's going to be the key to Nolan Ryan, as he always has to do, he must check his mechanics. He must make sure he is not too keyed up and tries to overthrow the ball. He must stay within himself.
3-1 to Rose. On the corner, 3-2. See Pete nod his head. Good pitch. As he looked at the 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
I'm sure Ed Vargo and all the umpires after yesterday's game, they will take any positive approach or reaction that they can get from anybody.
Full count to Rose. Got it.
That looked outside. Now that's what we missed. That's baseball. Nolan Ryan throwing 96 miles an hour on 3 days rest. Now they got to give these guys 5 days rest. Oh, you can only pitch 5 innings and that. Hey, Bobby Bo, did you see the Pete Rose? I just showed it. I can show it again because, you know, I was really holding it for you. But did you see it? I'll show it again.
Nick Fury. It would appear you're not dead after all.
Got that right. Now streaming.
Our next guest appeared in more winning games than any. And Pete Rose comes to the plate. He is 4-12 in this championship series, 7 out of 17. He's been walked 3 times. He'll be followed by Blake McBride and Mike Schmidt.
This is a World Series game.
And it's a typical Rose reaction from the crowd as Pete comes to the plate. They know he's poisoned.
You weren't playing back
He
then.
has been troublesome.
This is 1980.
For so many people for so many years in this game of baseball. Nolan Ryan pulls his cap down, and the right-hander from Alvin, Texas, is ready to pitch a big game in his career. Ball 1.
Yeah, against Pete
Whichever
Rose.
team scores first will win it, Pete said. I wonder. Well, to go along with that, Houston, they had a record of 32 wins and 6 losses in games at the Astrodome in which they did score first. And now you're even at 1-1.
The first pitch was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball for ball 1. The second pitch, a 96-mile-an-hour fastball for strike 1. So
No, it's the Phillies.
Even with Rose at 1-1.
He's with Mike Schmidt.
Pitching with 3 days rest. Not an oddity for Ryan at all.
3 days rest, Bobby, not 5.
He was a little younger, though, when he worked as part of a 4-man rotation with the California Angels from 72 to 78. They're the championship series for Pete Rose.
Shows you the kind of clutch player he is.
Why the crowd groans when he comes to the plate. 2-1 pitch is a ball just high.
I think the big thing that's going to be the key to Nolan Ryan, as he always has to do, he must check his mechanics. He must make sure he is not too keyed up and tries to overthrow the ball. He must stay within himself.
3-1 to Rose. On the corner, 3-2. See Pete nod his head. Good pitch. As he looked at the 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
I'm sure Ed Vargo and all the umpires after yesterday's game, they will take any positive approach or reaction that they can get from anybody.
Full count to Rose. Got it.
Yeah, you don't. That's real baseball, Bobby Bo. Yeah, he was on the Phillies at that time, but yeah, Big Red Machine, Joe Morgan, and everything. So it was definitely was a good. I happened to catch that clip today. I've been talking a lot of out of that clip of We Are for Africa or something with Michael Jackson. So I watched that on Netflix, or We Are the World, and they were trying to, and I said, what a scam, because they got all these celebrities, singers together and didn't pay them. It's hysterical. They all went like a bunch of idiots because people are starving, supposedly in Africa. and they go and they'd sing the song, We Are the World, and they sell all these CDs. Who gets the money? Where did the money disappear to? So, that's did Quincy Jones get all the money, or the producer, and pocket it all and not have to pay any of the stars? I love that. I mean, that's how I think, right? It was like, you've got to be kidding. They did this, thing for Africa and didn't have to pay 40 superstars. I mean, that's insane. So anyway, gold was up today. Let me go back into that. So gold's 1990 and silver 2234. So it's coming back, but again, it's all bullshit based on derivatives and COMEX. I was watching some silver guys, as I was saying, and they were all, none of them understand the Titanic part. They don't understand the dollar's collapsing for some reason. It's the same commentary. Yeah, I've been waiting for silver to go up, and I'll be dead before it goes up, and gold. And they totally don't understand the concept at all of what the fuck they're doing. So they don't get that this is going out, number one, or they don't think it will. And then they don't get the COMEX getting blown up by brics. So they don't understand brics. They don't understand inflation. And therefore, they don't understand why silver and gold is going to go up. And this is just absolutely, ridiculous, because that's exactly why it is. So I give the additive of why, but they don't have a clue. They just say, well, why would silver go up? It hasn't gone up. Oh, I did the price thing before, Bobby. The first, I looked at 1971, and then I looked at 2024, and I got percentages. And let me go back into that real quickly. So I do the percentage for gold. If we look at it. So what I did is I took 71's price, 2024's price, the increase, and then the percentage. So that tells you. So gold was $37 an ounce in 1971. Now it's $20.50, let's say, with an increase of $2,013, 5,441% increase. So everybody's bitching, oh, I don't want to be in gold, and yet it's gone up 5,000% since 1971. Silver was $1.50, and it's now 25, which we know is a joke. It's still gone up 1,567% because it was $1.50. And in the same time frame, a house was 25 grand, is now 450-ish, gone up 425,000 or 1,700%. So we can see what it tells you. Really, the point of the story is, so gold's gone up the most at 5,441%. But what it tells you is how much people look at it as prices increased. No, that's how bad the dollar's lost value. So in a sense, you needed $37 to buy the ounce of gold. It's the same ounce of gold from 71 to today. That hasn't changed, but now you need $2,050 or a $2,300 price, or 20 something like, what was it? A $2,000 price increase, or 50 or 5,000% return on your investment with no risk. You can't print gold, so it won't go away. So I went to my chiropractor to pay the bill. I started teaching gold. And I says, well, they're printing the dollar to zero, but you can't print gold. It can't be printed, so you can never lose the value. We started talking about my diet and sugar and high fructose corn syrup because of my gout. So my gout came up. I says, I don't understand. I did a 65-hour fast. And he says, well, sometimes they take a few days to kick in. And then he started talking, we started talking about sugar. And then it led to gold, where it's the same thing, right? The high fructose corn syrup is going to kill you. Smoking cigarettes is going to kill you. Oh yeah, and by the way, the dollar is going to kill you because it's going to be the same as the sugar. It'll kill you, and your only response is the gold, which will save your life, just like not having sugar or not smoking, or helping the back and everything. So I owed a few dollars, so I paid it off. But it was interesting how it all tied together. The sugar, the smoking, and the paper dollar. Too much anything in excess, and you're dead. So I was trying to tell him to buy gold. He says, "Yeah, my dad does that too." And you could grab the room. There was 3 people that they were getting it. Like I kind of, you could kind of glance at their eyes, and they're like, "Yeah, you're right, yeah," which makes me feel good. But that was kind of what we get to the bottom line is the reason the dollar's going out, because they're printing it, and you can see they're printing it because a house was $25,000 in 71 is now 450. This is just the average medium house, not the Tom Brady houses or the Derek Jeters, not these multi-million-dollar Trump houses or any of the Bill Gates or whatever. Just the regular house for us is 450. So did the house go up in value? No, the dollar lost value, but nobody will see that because nobody understands inflation. So they see it as prices. So if you looked at it 71 to today, the price on the house is like what, 1,500% gone up. So I'm trying to tie out what the gold price should be with the appropriate inflation, but I don't know how to do it because gold went up 5,000% already. But yet we know it's price fixed, and we know it's a higher price. What do we price it at? So this is the real problem: is what is the price? What should the price of gold be if they didn't price fix it? And then I was showing Rick Rude did one of these, and he's just fucking clueless. So Rick Rude does this 30 times, 30 times is coming in a heartbeat is what his thing was. And this is, I'm not going to show it because I hate the guy.
Ensure your passion. Here's how to start an RV quote. Just go to progressive.com/RV. Get
Virtually.
So here's my comment on Rick Rude. What an idiot. Shake my head. Then here's this other guy. Say, Nifty Invest. Gold and silver are not in any way Bitcoin or any other crypto garbage. This is a misrepresentation in your videos, just saying. And so I watched a little of it. The guy's an idiot. I mean, and he never talks about what's 30 times in a heartbeat. Is that silver? He doesn't explain why. He doesn't really get it. So this is why I can't listen to this moron. But I do put in my 2 cents, don't I? What else? Yeah, we've already talked about this, nothing new. But basically, if you understand the concept of the dollar collapsing, and then we can bring in Rome, and we can bring in Spain and Amsterdam and France and Britain, where it all collapsed because they got out of the gold into dollars. The dollars aren't backed by anything, but it just doesn't happen overnight. I mean, look at Rome. It was a few hundred years they debased their currency. They got rid of all the gold and silver in their coins. And I don't know if they had huge debts or they just, it was just became worthless. And then what happened is the Ottoman Empire came. They're the ones who started taking the gold. And the more gold they got, they became stronger and stronger, which goes back to being number one. You're number one. If you have gold and silver, guess what? You're the best country. And if you don't, guess what? You're fucked. Thank you, Bobby Ball. So that you're fucked then. So basically that's what it is understanding that we don't have gold. Our dollar is not backed by gold. Nobody's dollar is backed by gold. How can everybody be this stupid? Didn't you see the Roman Empire collapse when they got rid of the gold, or the British Empire, or the French Empire, or the Spanish? When they got rid of their gold, they're no longer number one. They're no longer the Alabama of the world. They become the Michigan State. But I don't understand how all the countries are in the same boat. So we understand that the demand for gold is going to be so high, it's going to be a joke. And I wouldn't worry about silver. It'll come along with it. But all these negative people that say, yeah, I've been waiting my whole life for silver to move and it won't. And somebody's saying, oh, when it drops, you should buy when it drops, not sell when it drops. And I'm just like, these guys are too stupid to listen to. Some Yankee Doodle guy and some Silver Stacker guy I've never heard of. I just said, let me see what they have to say. And they're just fucking clueless. And that's why I don't listen to them. They just don't get it. And there's nothing you can do. And as you can see, gold's kind of maintaining today. And believe me, it'll be back in the 2030s and 40s soon. And in 2 weeks, we should get a thing out of Russia about the gold-backed brics, gold-backed Russia, gold for oil. We'll get more news March 1st, said Mark McGuire, so I'm curious on that one. I'm bugging Daria for dates. If the daughter has to, it's supposed to be spring break, but our idea is spring break is the kids are off for a week. In Russia, I don't know what it is. Like she said, she might have to go to school for a day or two. And I says, well, can't we just say she's on vacation because it is spring break? So I'm waiting to hear on that. And, so we wished each other and Valentine's Day, and we'll celebrate it together in a month. And I said, it's coming up on a month. I'd like to buy the tickets now. Can I please get your names on your passport? And when, we got to just ignore the school and say, we're going on vacation. She'll be out of town. I'm sure this happens in Russia. The other thing with Russians, I was looking at Anatolia in Turkey, and it's on the Caribbean side, and all these rich Russians have bought houses there, are now selling the houses and moving to Dubai, because the houses are cheaper in Dubai than they are in Turkey. And I'm like, what? And then I think, well, where are all these Russians getting all this money to buy all these really expensive? And wait a minute, they're not even in Russia. Now, I'm sure this didn't happen while the war is going on. Probably happened before then. But there's a lot of people making a lot of money in Russia, and that's pure communism. Although they're more of a free market now, but it's all kind of fixed. If you know Putin, it's a good free market. And if you don't know him, it's a bad free market. You've got your Darias making probably minimum wage there, whatever that is. And then you've got your oligarchs living in Turkey on the Riviera in $1 million houses, and then moving to Dubai into $1 million houses. So something funny goes on, but the great equalizer is gold and silver. So I feel good that we're in it, and I feel no risk, and just hold on to it, and you're going to be fine. You're going to be make a lot of money on it. I don't see how we can't. It's all laid out there. This is going to zero. This is the critical point. This is going to zero. They can't save it. They couldn't save it in Rome. They couldn't save it in Spain, France, Germany, or Amsterdam, or England, and you can't save it from happening. You keep printing it and printing it and printing it. And then there's another 30, 40 countries who want to join BRICS because they want the BRICS gold-backed currency and they want to get out of the US dollar. I wonder what threat the Argentina president got, because he's all like libertarian and we're going to have, we're getting rid of the debt, we're lowering the government and lowering taxes, but we're going to use the US dollar as our dollar instead of a gold-backed currency. And I'm like, well, why would you do that? Is the US threatening you if you go to a gold-backed currency, we're going to blow you up, which is what the US does. I'm curious as to why he didn't go to gold-back, but we'll never know that answer. But we know what happened to Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi. They tried to do it and they got killed. So wouldn't surprise me. But you can't do that to them. They're too powerful for you. So you can't blow them up for using gold-backed currency. But after hearing that Putin interview, yeah, he's ready to do it real quick, I think. The guy goes, well, why, have you talked to Biden? And he says, why would I talk to Biden? He's a moron. I love it. So we know how Putin thinks. And he actually sounds sane. He actually sounds like a leader. Like, I'm in control. I'm in charge. This is what's going to happen. He doesn't sound to get frazzled. Hardly what you hear from Biden screaming at reporters, not knowing what day it is. We don't even know if he's AI or real. 81 years old and he takes naps and nobody has a clue who this guy really is, if it's a real person. So this is the problem with our government. And even if Trump takes over, is he any better? I don't know. He caused a lot of inflation. Seems a tougher guy, but he didn't do anything in 4 years. So he was cleaning up the border, but he didn't finish. It took him 4 years. He still couldn't finish it. Didn't put items in place. And then Biden went in with all these executive orders because you can't get things passed in Congress. So it's terrible. But at the end of the day, it's the dollar. Biden reminds me of Nero. It's just he burned the city down to take the wood and put up statues of himself. And geez, that's what Biden sounds like. So we don't have long to go, but we're prepared for it. Like I say, we know the boat's sinking and we're off the boat. And that's all we can plan. If you need money, that's what I say. If you need money, you sell an ounce of gold. But I would wish you would wait till at least goes to 4,000 or 5,000. And silver's gonna move. People are just too stupid. Oh no, it's 22. It'll never go up. And it's crazy. She's not working right now. She was working at a clothes store and they wanted her to come in because some girl got sick and she had to do something for her daughter's school, like the parent teacher conference. And she hurt her hands. She was going to go to the doctor and I did something for her and they made her work the 4 days. Like when I didn't hear from her for 4 days, she was really upset about work, not letting her go to the doctors and go to the daughter's school, which I still don't know why she couldn't have taken an hour off, go to the school and come back to work. I don't know what the conditions are. So right now she's in between. So she was at some sort of clinic for her neck and her hand's hurting her and they're injecting into her neck for her hand, which reminds me of like when we get the sciatic and the foot hurts, right? Well, it's not from the foot. It's the sciatic nerve causing your foot to hurt. So I think she's got a neck problem. She told me what it was. I never heard of it, but that's what makes the hands hurt. So she goes for injections. So she does. I don't know how often she has to do that. So I assume she's looking for a job. But again, that's why I'm trying to lock in the tickets March 23rd for the week. I don't want to go for 2 days because it's too long of a trip. So I'm hoping she'll be able to get the daughter spring. We're waiting for spring break. That's what the 23rd is. So I'm hoping that she can say, well, look, the daughter, we're going on vacation. We'll be back the 30th. Let us know if there's anything that we needed to do. and she can do on the trip or when she gets back or something. I mean, I'm hoping it's like here. But so right now she's not working, and that's all she can, So I think she has money, and then I pay her rent anyway. So I just paid her rent. Then I gave her money yesterday to buy roses and candy for Valentine's Day. I sent to Jenna. I sent money to. Go get flowers, candy, whatever. Jenna's going to get flowers and lipstick. And Daria's going to get, I said, get whatever you want. I says, she says, I got to get an odd number. I said, well, buy what you want and get some roses. And then you want chocolate, or if you need it for other things, just take the money for that. So right now she's not working. I don't believe. And then I don't know how it works there. Like me, I keep applying and I get idiots picking my brain and stealing my knowledge, which I don't like. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, Putin would end the war, as he said, but since Biden doesn't run the U.S. and we're run by the military people, and they don't want to end it because they make it's all probably about the laundering the money, giving billions of dollars to Ukraine so they can launder it and get it back. That's all this is. There's no reason to give them money, because what's he going to do with it? And that's why I brought up the Michael Jackson song, "We Are the World." I mean, okay, you sold all these copies. You didn't have to pay any of the performers, and where'd the money go? So let's be stoic with that. And that's where I get it from. It's the same as the Ukraine. There's a lot of shit like that where they say we're giving money and then it ends up in the mafia's hands or whoever's controlling it. Certainly not. Is there still starving children in Africa? I assume yes. If you're still living in the desert, you're probably not getting crops and food unless you're killing lions and elephants to eat. So I don't see that happening. So again, you've made a lot of people a lot of money, and you were able to. I think Madoff was behind it because he was able to get 40 rock stars together and not pay them. Only a Madoff could do that. And they all think, oh, we're helping the poor kids in Africa. My ass. They didn't feed any. If they wanted to, why didn't they fly to Africa and take a bunch of McDonald's and say, here you go. Now, here, go eat. So I don't buy that shit at all. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, so gold and silver, nice and cheap to buy, should be going, I think we'll start seeing it, as we said, by the end of the second quarter. So we're really looking for May and June, where the BRICS gold back currency comes out, the Russian ruble gold back, the gold for oil between Saudi and Russia. We'll start seeing all that come out, and that's when the prices go as the dollar's going out. So we're going to see that more, the dollar going out. And anyway, that's what we understand. The dollar's being inflated to zero. It's already there. It's not worth anything. They keep printing it. They got to pay for the interest on the debt. So as all this happens, you can't be naive and think the dollar will not lose its value like it did in Rome. The difference is in Rome, they took the gold and silver out, right? And then, and we kind of did the same thing. We had silver coins till 64, but the dollar was still backed by gold till 71. How we've stayed since 71 with all the inflation we've done, where I've shown you a house went from 25,000 to 450,000. Are you kidding me? And yet the dollar's fine. I mean, it's the dollar going down, not the house going up, not gold going up. It's the same ounce of gold, right? You had this ounce of gold, okay? And in 1971, it was worth $37. It hasn't changed, but now it's worth $2,050, let's say. Well, how the fuck can that happen? This stayed the same. The ounce is an ounce is an ounce. This hasn't moved. But now it cost me $2,050 to buy the same coin that I spent 37 on in 1971. And then I pulled some other items, Bobby. So Pepsi was 10 cents per can in 1971. And I was just at the grocery store. It's now $2.50 for a 12-ounce can. So I don't even know if it was 12 ounces in 71, but Pepsi went from a dime to $2.50, let's say. So you can see, well, wait a minute, how could it be a dime? Because they didn't inflate the money. It was still on the gold back. That shows you the power of gold, and that should show you what's wrong. All these prices, homes went from 25,000 to 450,000. Cars went from 4,000. I conservatively estimated 30 or 35 for a Camry. So you can see cars really, and the difference is cars have competition, and that's where competition comes in. Adam Smith. Back then it was Ford and GM and Chrysler. Now it's Honda, Toyota, Mercedes. All these other came in to get a piece of the pie, lowered the price. So here's where productivity kept the price down in cars. Houses doesn't have that. So houses went from 25,000 to 450,000. So that's why cars, then you can see how competition works. Now, granted, it still was 4,000 to 30,000, but not like a house going from 25,000 to 450,000. And that's like not for Brady's house or Jeter's or, any of those, or, Trump's or Biden's houses that are $1 million houses. So keep that in mind. But that shows you how the value of the dollars dropped. When a Pepsi was a dime, is now $2.50. So that's what what we're trying to get across. That's what inflation is. It hurts the value of the dollar, drops. That's what inflation is. Pepsi going from a dime to $2.50. That's inflation. The fact it takes $2.50 to buy the same can of pop, it costs you a dime to buy. And they took all the gold. It's not backed by gold. It's not backed by anything. It's just printed. You've given the government a monopoly on money. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? Do you think that works? So the fact that they've given the one monopoly, the one thing that shouldn't be a monopoly, you've given to the government. Yeah, you can run the Federal Reserve and print the money. And I guess because they're blowing it up, they want digital currency, and they'll sell it as, oh, yeah, we're trying to control you. We're not trying to control you. They've blown up the dollar, and therefore they need some new currency, but they don't know what to do. And the new currency obviously is got to be backed by gold, so they'll call it digital, but it'll be like Bitcoin. Do we have to buy Bitcoin? No. Do we own any Bitcoin? No. So that's what the digital dollar, but they don't tell you that. So the digital dollar will be out there, but you don't have to. This will still be there because all the banks don't want this to go away. And when it does go away, it'll be gold back, and then the banks will still get their chunk of gold back currency because they've basically killed the goose laying the golden egg. So when they've killed this, the only other golden egg goose out there is gold. How about stoicism? Yeah, I talked about that. Basically, how the actors are not stoic. So I watched the thing on the Michael Jackson We Are the World, and I said, and I brought you up, and I said the difference between you playing ball and actors are they lie about their roles. I specifically brought up the gladiator guy, the guy we hate, right? Phoenix. And I said, he's a fucking liar, right? He's not real, right? He doesn't, I was talking to Alyssa, my friend, about it. She says, well, he's just a good actor. And I says, but I don't like the role he chose. He didn't play a stoic role like Clint Eastwood did, like Sean Connery always played stoic roles. He was always the hero and he was always calm. You never saw Sean Connery yell and cry and bitch. And I said, and Keanu Reeves, and I think even our buddy, whatchamacallit, who's our Liam Neeson, I think is very stoic. And so what my point was is that they're just acting, which means they're all full of shit. And I said, if I saw George Clooney walking down the street or at Kroger's, I'd run into him and keep walking and ignore him, because what does he do? He doesn't do anything stoic for us, right? I'm doing something stoic. I'm saving everybody's ass. Buy your gold. Here's why. Get out of the dollar, right? So it's stoic. I'm doing something that's meaningful. And they don't do it. They're acting. They're not doing anything. And that's what I thought of these musicians I watched yesterday on this. It's on Netflix, right? How they kind of got it all together. So they got 40 song guys to sing. Is that stoic? My point about being stoic is go to Africa and feed the fucking kids. Don't play a song, make all this money, and then it gets laundered and who knows who gets it. So I said the singers and the actors, most of them are not stoic people. They're a bunch of criminals and they're all just acting. They're not even real. And then there was a Seinfeld and Eddie Murphy thing, and the question came up to Eddie Murphy. So they were being interviewed together, and Eddie Murphy goes, they said, what role is most like you? And he said, none of them are like me. And I said, how can that be? How can you not be part of you in a role, right? That's why I showed that clip on from Trading Places. And I said, that's ridiculous. I mean, I said, and then I'm pointing out, this is me. There's no acting going on. This is who I am. And I'm like this every day. And if I go to the pool, I'm like this. And if I play poker, I'm like this. So I'm just saying that we don't like non-stoic people. They're fake and they're crybabies and everything. That's what I pointed out. Nolan Ryan was on 3 days rest. You wouldn't see that now. He'd be on 5 days rest and he wouldn't be able to finish the game because once he hit 100 pitches, they'd take him out. How stupid it is now. And then the last stoic was you. So I said, ball players like you and Mahomes and Montana are stoic because you're real. You're not acting. You're playing the game. You're hitting the ball, making catches. This is real. You're real. Reggie Jackson, Mahomes, Montana are real people just playing the same. Like if I play golf, I mean, same thing. So that's the difference between athletes are real and movie stars are phony. And you're stoic and they're not. And that was kind of the lesson learned on the stoic there. Stoic's just being real and not lying. If I acted, I would act just like this. If I was in a movie or if I was doing a TV show or if I was doing this, there'd be no acting and I wouldn't allow it. I wouldn't allow I wouldn't allow me to lie on anything. I'd say, no, this is who I am. This is how I'm going to play the part. And I'm going to play it stoic and everybody's going to like me because I'm honest. And that's really what I'm seeing, that stoic is being real and being honest and telling people, hey, everybody, well, we don't want to tell anybody it will cause a panic if we tell them that the dollar's going out. Well, let people prepare for it. I'm not worried about when I say this is going to zero or this is at zero. I'm not trying to cause a panic. I'm trying to save a panic. If you get into the gold now, you avoid the panic and everything, and you could be buying it at these cheap prices. I don't worry about causing a panic or if Greg John's fucked because he doesn't have any. Well, at least he knows he's got time to go buy silver and save himself, if that's what it is. But again, it's about the information. You be honest about the information. Why is silver going to go up and gold finally going to go up? Because of BRICS, because they're going to come out with a gold-backed currency. nobody will want the dollar. Everybody will jump into gold. And as the dollar collapses from all the printing, then everybody will be worth, the money will be worthless. And then your assets are worthless until they're then repriced in gold and silver. And so that's where but that's being honest. That's telling people, that's warning people, you're about to get killed. Like, do something, right? So that's really what the Stoic is. So I was saying in the club, somebody asked me what's on my mind. I says, you couldn't deal with it. It's so far over your head, you don't want to know. And the guy got mad at me, looked at me like, who the fuck are you? And I just said, I'm Marcus Aurelius. Who are you? Who the fuck? Why should I talk? Why should I tell you what's in my mind? You can't handle it. I ain't going to say a fucking word because I'd have to go through the whole thing and explain gold and explain Rome and explain the inflation, what it really is, and bricks and everything else. I'm not in the mood. Yeah, I got the dark chocolate today. So I went to the grocery store. What did I get? I got some more pita, dark chocolate. Although I want to go to what's it called? Not Costco, but I want to go to like Walmart, and they have the dark chocolate from Switzerland real cheap. So I might go there later just to get out. But yeah, I got 2 dark chocolate bars. It's $3.50, but if I buy the second one, it's half price, so it ends up being $5.20. So it's like $2.50 a piece. Otherwise, $3.50s, used to be $2.75. Yeah, but there's no inflation. Oh yeah, the dark chocolate makers raise their price. No, see, again, the dollar loses value, and everything goes up. So how the fuck can inflation be down to 3% and or going away? And this is the whole Joseph Goebbels that they're trying to do to you by saying, oh, yeah, look, inflation's down, buy stocks, they're going through the roof. And people listen to it because they don't know. It's not they're not stupid. They don't know, but they're not stoic, so they don't ask the question. And that's really the problem. When something looks funny, you got to ask, why is silver $25 an ounce? Should be on everybody's mind. Fucking chocolate went from $2.50 to $3.50. What the fuck's going on? That chocolate's going up, and Pop-Tarts are going up, and Oreo cookies are going up, and Lucky Charms are going up, and yet silver's not. Does that make any sense in any realm? No, of course not. Oh, it's price fixed. So even Rick Rude today said that he didn't understand price fixing. Well, I know there's a debate that they think it's price fixed. Yeah, Rick, it's price fixed. Have you heard of COMEX? Motherfucker, that guy should be in jail because he pushes the ETF. He owns that one silver ETF with this other guy, and they're just scamming everybody into believing that you're buying gold, and you're not. It's something to do with the gold price, but you're not buying gold. You could have 100 ETFs. You're not having 100 ounces of gold. You got no gold. But he pushes it's something to do with physical gold because they call them physical ETFs, and it's bullshit. So that guy needs to go to jail. But he plays stupid. I don't know. There's price fixing. What do you mean price fixing? Then they start talking, well, there's just no demand for silver. And you're like, fuck off. It's a whole scam where people that need it for industrial use, for electric cars and solar and all that, need the price to stay low. Just like when the Chinese want to buy gold and they knocked gold down $25 yesterday or the day before because they want to buy it. So they knock the price down and they get to buy it cheaper. Me and you can't do that. But all we can do is sit there and see it drop and then run and buy it. Just like China. We can be just like China. When the price drops, we go run and buy it. Believe me, China and Russia want the price to go up. The price is going up. And that's what BRICS is all about. So, again, there's another 40 countries that want to join because they don't want to deal with the U.S. and all the bullshit and all the wars they cause. And I guess we're run by the CIA, I heard. They run the president. They run all the wars and all these coups and everything else. So it's terrible. But when you lose laws and you lose integrity and you lie, this is the problems you have. You stop being stoic and now you become the Roman Empire. Well, the question isn't we're going to collapse. It's why haven't we collapsed already? We should have collapsed 20 years ago. In 1990, we should have collapsed. So how we're still surviving with our phony dollars, the phony money not backed by anything, the paper worthless dollar. How are we still surviving is beyond me. And it's it's a lot of bullshit with the CIA controlling other countries. So I guess we probably steal the gold and stuff from them. And that's the only way we're surviving. It's all crooked. We're very corrupt and very dishonest here. And to have Joe Biden as our leader, you got it like a fucking monkey could do better. You're just kind of going, is this real? Is this a Simpsons episode that Joe Biden is running? I saw that that Simpsons 2024 predictions. It's so stupid. It's it's they do something and then somehow apply it to what happened. And it's just really beyond me that they're really not saying specific things, or they probably have heard this is like, I think they did one with the phone, and then it was like you could see the video with the phone. Well, yeah, that's probably been out for 50 years. So when the Simpsons did it, it's really not a prediction or new technology. It's already been there, and to think you could have a video on the phone is not, that's pretty obvious. So anyway, so I'll be curious to see what Daria, if she had this conference for a couple of days. She just said she was doing it. I didn't realize it would be a few days of doing it, but at least this time, this is where she's sweet. She does say, happy anniversary. I keep saying happy Valentine's Day. And, so I told her I need to fly. She probably doesn't know, right? Because how often does she fly out of Russia? So I said, look, if I can get a month to buy the tickets for the plane, it'll be much cheaper. I don't want to buy the plane ticket the day of the moving it, of going. I said, give me a month. If you can tell me now, I can buy the tickets at half the price I'm going to pay March 23rd. So please don't make me wait till then. But she doesn't know. It's not, she doesn't know. I doubt if she's even, she does have a passport, but she could have taken train or a boat to get out of the country. And but does she know the earlier you get the ticket, the cheaper it is. So I'm trying to get it early. I'll keep bugging her with it. Anyway, so I talk a lot, Bobby, about the 71 prices versus the 2024 prices to try to figure out what the real price of gold is. And the inflation's about 5,000% if we look at gold. So I'm going to dig in a little bit more to try to find out what the real gold price should be based on what the inflation is. Probably somewhere 4,000 or 5,000, but finding it's difficult because, like I said, I found a can of Pepsi, 1971's 10 cents. I couldn't even find a can. It was a 6-pack, a 12-pack, a 24-pack. So I had to go to the store into those coolers and see what a can of Pepsi was going for. It was $2.50, or a loaf of bread. The whole thing just went. But anyway, it was bread. Bread was a quarter, is now like $2.75, $3. So back in 71, Pepsi's a dime, bread's a quarter, gold's 37, silver's $1.50, a house is 25,000, and a car's 4,000 back in 71. So what the fuck happened that everything's so expensive in 2024? And that's the inflation. That's the purchasing power of the dollar. It takes more dollars to buy the same loaf of bread and the same ounce of gold and silver. And that's what happens. Anyway, I think that's it. Is there any other questions? I got a salmon to cook. I found the salmon yesterday cheap, so I bought like a pound and a half, but I got to cook it soon. It doesn't sit in the fridge too long. And you can freeze them, in case you're wondering. If you buy a salmon out of the butcher, he says you could freeze it, but not for too long. And so since I got it yesterday, I'll cook it today. There's nothing worse than salmon going bad. But if you cook it, you can kind of, eat it over the next couple of days and you're fine. So anyway, that's it. www.teaserking.com, and have a wonderful day. Bobby, take care. And I think we covered everything. So watch the inflation. It's the value of the dollar going down, which makes it look like the prices are going up when they're not. The can of Coke was 10 cents to 50. It didn't go up. It just takes $2.50 to buy the same can of Coke. It takes $2,050 to buy the same ounce of gold, and it takes $25 to buy the same ounce of silver that you could have got for $1.25. So it just shows you how weak the dollar is getting, that every price is way up. I mean, that's really the bottom line. So anyway, have a nice night. I will see you tomorrow. Again, happy Valentine's Day, everybody, and I hope you had a nice day and enjoy your spouses, your others, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, whatever. All right, take care, everybody. Have a good day.